Well, hello, I'm Kate McKinnon. Let's make a tri-wing ring. This is a piece built on our Bellyband modified right angle weave, which we call MRAW, and it's from the book Contemporary Geometric Beadwork. We get started, as we do with all of our belly bands, with a pickup of 4 beads. What we're doing is basically right angle weave. We call it MRAW because it's modified right angle weave, but it starts the same way that all raw does. What you want to do is take 4 beads and join them into a circle, and then ideally, to get your tail opposite your working thread, you'll pass through the first bead that you put on. Now, I leave a tail that's both long enough to hold into and also long enough to weave into the finished work. So for me, that's somewhere between 4 and 6 inches. I am working with MRAW B in the beautiful shoe red color from the 3-ounce cone. And this is a strong, elegant upholstery thread. You can use any beading thread that you enjoy for this. Now, we start out with one unit of 4 beads, which is again traditional right angle weave. And when you're doing raw in the usual way, what you do is you add 3 beads at a time, because of course you've always got one to hook into to make up your 4th unit. And so you'll generally start from this direction or this direction in a side bead to make a chain, and you'll put on 3 beads in a series of moves that go in opposite directions. One of the advantages to our stitch is that not only do you get the benefit of a peyote round by adding spacers, but you can always go in the same direction. Let me show you how it works. I'm passing up through that handy right hand bead, ignoring the spacer completely, and then I am going through the top bead to get the effect of a second unit of a cross of 4 with a spacer in between them. This spacer is the first bead in my peyote round. Well, this is pretty nifty. Pick up the spacer, ignore it completely, proceed on as before, going up through the side bead, bypassing the spacer. See how I'm holding these beads? They can't get away. Going across through the top bead to make a 3rd unit of 4. Right? So I'm adding 1 spacer, ignoring it entirely, passing up through the right hand side bead, bypassing the spacer, and going through the top bead in the unit. So this is really all there is to it, and it marches along with really very little effort on your behalf. It seems like you're getting a lot of beadwork for the effort expended, and in fact you are. Now, one thing that you'll want to do is to bypass the spacer in exactly the same way each time. If you consistently go in front of it, be consistent. Do that every time. If you jump around, it'll affect your tailoring. Another thing that I do is I be sure that my thread is snug at all times. I like to maintain a nice tension when working this stitch. There's nothing like a nice sturdy belly band, but there's also nothing like a soft, sloppy one. Hard to build on. So, keep it tight, keep it snug, and then you may find it helpful to sort out your beads as you go to make sure that they're all soldiered up. It's easier to fix problems as they occur rather than wait until later. Now, I'm going to add a few more beads, and then I'll be right back with you when we're ready for our second round. Well, hello again. You can see that I am now almost finished with my band. I've planned for 3 sets of 7 blue beads with 3 gold spacers in between them, and I am missing 1 blue spacer from this right hand side and 1 gold spacer at the join. Since the way that we join takes 2 spacers to do it, I'm going to show you the whole process. The first thing that I'm going to do before I begin the join is I'm going to pass back through the last section of right angle weave added. Not the spacer, just the raw, the orange beads. And the reason that I'm doing this is just, I don't know, makes it easier. If the beads are flopping around when you're trying to make the join, it's simply one more thing to think about. I always feel that if you know what you're going to do, you should let your materials know too so that they can cooperate. So this is what I'm doing. No twists in the band, and I'm going to use this bead right here and join it with this bead right here, which is the same matching unit on the other side. So I'm going to pick up the next bead in line, which is a spacer, a blue spacer, and then the top bead of this final raw unit, and I'm going to pass down through the end bead in the first section added. Now you can, take your time with this. No one's rushing you. Now, you can see that I have only one more orange bead to add to complete this joining unit of right angle weave. And I'm going to go ahead and complete the stitch by passing back through, not the spacer, but the top bead. And then when I add the gold spacer, the round will be complete. Pretty nifty, huh? Now, I'm going to go ahead and take a pass back through that joining unit, because I can. And then I'm also going to take a reinforcing pass through all of the beads in the top row. Be right back. Done. And now I'm going to needle over to the other side of the band by passing through the right angle weave. And it doesn't really matter what direction you're going as long as you're following the thread path. If you don't like going up, just turn it over. You're going down. It's as simple as that. Now I'm going to, using regular peyote stitch, add one yellow bead in every space on the other side of this right angle weave band, and then I'm going to reinforce that round as well. Now I've completed the add of yellow beads on the other side of the belly band, and I am ready to lay in another round of beadwork. What I plan to do now is place one yellow bead between each of these blue beads, step up, and then begin the next round in which I'll place my increases. I'm now ready to add the last bead of the yellow round, and because it is, in fact, the last bead of the round, I'll be passing through two beads to step up. Now, I'm ready to place the next round, and I'm going to begin with regular peyote, and then every time I come to a place where I have one of the three gold marker beads that I placed for convenience. I didn't need to put them there, but who wants to count? So anytime I come to one of these three marker beads, I'm going to go ahead and place two beads, and these two beads will be the base of an end to belly stack. As you can see in the finished tri-wing, these beads stack up 2 by 2 by 2, as long as you like. It won't change the inner band size, and the peyote climbs the ladder of the increases. So right now, by placing these two beads right here, I've begun the base of my first end to belly increase. So I'm going to continue around this band, either placing single blue beads or, in these remaining two instances, sets of two. And now I am ready to place my last blue bead of this round, which of course means I will be stepping up to get on top for the next round. Now, one thing I'd like to point out is that if you don't like the place at which you're stepping up to the next round, it's kind of like not liking where you're standing in the room. All you have to do, if you would like to step up in a different place, is simply walk over there. You don't like that place? Keep going. You can choose to step up in the middle of a round if that's easier for you, or always right before the rib. It just doesn't matter in the slightest. Now, this is what we do when we get to one of these points of increase. You're going to place a bead, kind of climbing the ladder, which will increase the count on each side by 1 per side in between the increases. And then when it's time to place beads at this space, what you'll do is pick up 2 beads on your needle, and they go in between the 2 beads that were added in the last stitch. And so the result of this is a pretty little stack of 2, which will again be the base for your ribs, your wings, your horns, your everything. Now my job is to place yellow beads in between each of these spaces, and while there were 7 blue beads in the last round, there will be 8 yellow beads in between these 2. And in fact, that's a great way to keep track if you're just learning, is to count out the number of beads that you'll need for the round. Put them on your tray in front of you, and when those beads are gone, you have in fact finished your side or your round or however many beads you've counted out. So I've placed 1 on, I have 7 left to go, and I'm going to place yellow beads here, 2 gold beads on each of these points, and come around and finish here, and I will be right back. And now I am ready to place the last yellow bead of this round. And so this is going to be a step up of 2, and you can either pass through 2 beads at once or do them one at a time, whatever's convenient for you and the way you hold your needle. Now, you can see my tension is pretty snug, but my piece is still flexible. I've got a nice ring band, and this particular count came out to be about a size between a 6.5 and a 7, depending on how you count. And I think that you could just build wings on this as high as you like. I generally go up about 4 or 5 increases and then finish with a point round, often of size 15 round beads. So the other side, same thing. You can build increases in wings if you like, or you can just finish it off, as this is a completely useful band as is. So to recap, what I'll be doing as I continue this piece as high as I wish to continue it is I will be adding 1 bead. Don't forget that little space right under the ridge, right? 1 bead in each side space. I will be adding 2 beads on top of each herringbone add. And again, don't forget that little space under the rib. And when you're first learning to do these increases, whether they're in flat triangles or tri-wing rings, these are the beads that are easiest to miss. And that's why it can be helpful to actually count out the beads that you know you're going to need, which in this round is going to be 9 per side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So if you know you need 9, you might want to get 9 out. That way you know what you're going to do. So that's really all there is to it. Made an MRAW band, filled in each side of it, placing increases, go as high as you like, and then ornament the edge with round beads as you like. Enjoy!